We are very happy to be here with you today. I hope you can have a sound from our place here, and I would like to see you. If you can say something, I would appreciate this. So, good morning, everyone, and today I would like. Rodrigo is here. 1 second. Rodrigo, can you hear? Hello, Rodrigo? Hello?
I hope you can have a sound from your place here, and I would like to see you.
Rodrigo, good morning.
I would appreciate this. So
Good morning,
good
Rodrigo.
morning, Rodrigo.
Good morning, Yeti. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How do you do?
How do you do?
Oh, I'm fine, Yeti. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to hear your voice and to have this opportunity to talk with you and our friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Joanne is here. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning. So let's pop into our light blue board and see what is happening there today. Do you see the board, Rodrigo?
It's charging. It's loading.
It is
loading, it's
charging.
loading.
So we have the first verse from John 1:1. And I would like to read John 1:1 together, all of us together, and ask a simple question. Why does John open with this verse? Where does he take this idea to say what he says in the first verse? Why to start a book with such a verse? What this verse hide behind its saying? Do you see the verse at the moment?
Yes, I'm on the whiteboard. I can see the verse and I can read it if you want, Yeti.
Yes, please. Do you see the English? The letters are
Yeah.
bright and clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
May I read?
Yes.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Now, a little question. When a person first time reads the verse, a question does not rise. How people know such a thing to write? Why to start with such a statement? How do they know? We don't have. Do you have any answer why to start with such a verse?
No, I don't have the answer, but it's interesting because when we read this verse, it's a statement, it's something very high, but we can feel, how can I say, as a true, makes sense. It's something very, very deep, but it's something that you you can imagine or something like that. I don't know if,
It is a bit it's in the realm of metaphysics, yes? So why to start
yeah.
with metaphysics? Why? Let's see. Let's see why to start with such an opening, because we take it for granted, because we did not write a verse. We found it in a book, all of us. We open a book, it doesn't matter in which language, Portuguese, English, Hebrew, or any other, German, French, and this is what we see. And we take it for granted that somebody wrote this verse, and maybe we don't ask even why, because it is written. So let's see what is happening. And to try a bit to answer, or to circle at least the range of ideas that this verse is covering, let's start in reading Genesis 12 with the speech to Abraham. Do you see the text?
Yes.
Can you read the first three verses of Genesis 12, please?
Okay. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 to 3. Now the Lord said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto the land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and bestow a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and him that curseth thee will I curse, and in the shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
Thank you. Now let's follow. Can you continue another verse? Because here we already have a number. Yes. Can you continue?
So Abram went, as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Excellent. So in which age or stage Abraham hears this inner voice?
When he was 75 years old, he was an old man.
So let's keep the number here on the page and continue to read the biblical script. Let's see. Now Genesis chapter, one second, do we have it here? Genesis 16. Let's see.
Okay. May I read?
Yes, 3 and 16.
Okay. Genesis chapter 16, verse 3 and verse 16. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her handmaid, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abram, her husband, to be his wife.
Thank you. Now let's stop. Abraham is 75 years old when he hears this speech, the divine speech, go, lech lecha. Now 10 years have passed since he heard this speech. And now when Sarai gives Hagar, her maid, to Abraham, how old is he?
85, because past 10 years.
Yes, so at this moment he is 85. Now, what Hebrew word do we know as that has the value of 85? What Hebrew term? We know milah.
Which means word.
Word, which means word. So at this moment, when Sarai gives Hagar, her Egyptian maid, to Abraham, after 10 years they are moving from his, let's say, homeland, Abraham is 85 years old. Now, can you please read verse 16?
And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ismael to Abram.
Yes. So fourscore is a new word for English, in English for you, fourscore?
Yes, it's fourscore. It's not. I'm not familiar with this word.
Maybe it might be 4 times 20. 4 times 20,
yes,
which means
8.
yes. So how old Abraham when Ishmael is born?
86.
86. He's 86. Which word in Hebrew has the value of 86?
Elohim, which
Elohim.
means God, the manifested God.
The manifested God. Very good. Manifested. Manifested. Very good. Now let's continue and read Genesis 17.
May I read?
Yes, please.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 24 to 27. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the self-same days was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, those born in the house, and those bought with money of a foreigner were circumcised with him.
Thank you so much. So, in which age Abraham is circumcising himself?
90
90?
was,
Let's see
yes.
again. Let's see again. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9.
Oh, sorry.
And
It's 90.
9. Please pay
Sorry.
attention. It is 99. 99. But please pay attention to this beautiful number. What happens when we write it in a non-linear way? This is 9. And this is 9. And it reminds us scissors. Please pay attention, because 99, this is a very interesting number, because if we take the word shamayim, heavens, let me write in a way that I would also could see the letters as well. If we look at shamayim, which their value is, hello Frank, yes, 390. Aretz, land or earth, is 291. And what is the difference between heaven and earth?
99.
99. So please pay attention. The distance between heavens, earth, in Hebrew is 99. And in the age of 99, he is asked to circumcise himself, meaning to remove what? The circumstances. To remove the circumstances, what surrounds him. Because there are many screens in front of us that hides the inner reality, which is good. So what is to circumcise? To remove those screens that are hiding the inner reality or the goodness from us. Now, in which age Ishmael is in the moment of the circumcision?
13.
13. What the number 13 in Hebrew means? Two words?
We have two words, love,
Love.
and Ehad, which is one.
Yes.
Means one.
Yes, and one. Because when we feel love or we feel unity, there is no separation between us and the source. There is no screens or any kinds of disturbances that separates us from the origin. Yes, there is a bar mitzvah. Very good. In this time, the removal of a bed. This is the mind of, so to speak, young adult is coming at the age of 13, because at the age of 13, a child can achieve 13 attributes of mercy. His mind can encompass 13 attributes of mercy. 13. Now, when you look at this voyage through Numbers, from the first speech to Abraham to go to leave his homeland, to the house of his fathers, what do we see? He leaves the house of his fathers at the age of 75. We can look at it as, let's say, chronicle age, but this word or this number stands for a Hebrew word which means what? Night. Laila. Laila, night, has the value of 75. Yes, because Lamed is, I'm running a bit, but here every Lamed is 30. Yod is 10. Together this is 70, and another 5. This is 75. So at the most darkest point in his life, this is not just about chronological age. This is the night that a person feels inside of himself. He hears this speech. The Zohar says something interesting. The Zohar looks at 75 also as the top material point, because 7 plus 5, this is 12. So the manifested, like on a clock we have 12 hours per day or 12 months per year. This is how the Zohar sees this in a non-linear way. So at the top darkness of his life, it's not about an age, but a top darkness, he hears this speech of God. Live your perspectives, live the way you grew as a person, as a husband, and move to a will that I will show you. And what happens 10 years after this speech? Or 10 years, or we can say even not years, but after 10, if we add 10, what change happens in his life?
Well, he in the verse 3 of the chapter 16 tells us that he got another wife. He got Hagar, the Egyptian, as a new wife that Sarai gave to him.
And year after he gets Hagar as a wife, what happens as a consequence?
She conceived Ishmael. She's born Ismael
Yes,
in the age of 86.
86. Yes, that's true. When 86 represent Elohim, and Elohim contains the word Milah, and 13 years after the birth of Ishmael, there is another speech that comes to Abraham. What is the other speech at the age of 99? We don't have... yes.
He was circumcised with Ishmael and all of the men of his house. All of
Yes.
them circumcised.
That he could receive the next year the birth of Isaac, the birth of laughter. In order that we could laugh, this is not just a story about people who lived 5,000 years before our times. In order that we could laugh and look at reality with a distance, we need to remove those screens that are screens of dust that are coming between us and goodness. Do we have any questions regarding this map of numbers?
It's amazing at this journey from Genesis chapter 12 and to chapter 17 that show us in numbers all of this. Okay, we could say the preparation, as you say, to receive Isaac then. But I'm very curious to make the connection with John 1:1, and I must confess that I cannot get it at the moment. How connect this with John 1:1?
Let's see. Let's ask the friends. Venus, Joanne, yes, Frank. What is the connection here? What is the connection between John 1:1 and the story of Abraham? What is the connection? I have even a general question to all of us as humans. Do we look at our lives as a word, as a speech, as a promise of God to us, residents of planet Earth? Do we look at our lives as given? Or we look at our lives as granted? Of course, I was born here, I live here, I study here, this is my life, and I want to do such and such, and I have a car. Or we think even deeper, and we think that our lives were granted to us because there is a divine will which is moving through life and wants us to be here. How do you perceive your life, our life, Rodrigo? Joanne, Venus, Frank, friends on YouTube.
Oh, it's a very open question because we can think in a many perspectives, and we are talking about the meaning of being here, the meaning of the life, and if we uh, admit that was a creation in a spiritual room at first, and then we know the story of the Gan Eden, and we we came here to the material room. I believe that the life is an experience that we could, um, how can I say, do our best efforts to back to the unity, to be in union with this God that created us. But it's not so easy at do this journey or living the life connected or attached, cleaved with uh, the one. But I believe that a huge challenge that we have here is to reconnect, is to remember, is to back to this unity. But in our daily life, as I always mention to you, we are just immersed in the material. We are just immersed in our ego and the our senses that we almost forget this spiritual room in our daily actions, in our daily deeds. It's difficult. I don't know if I can express myself properly, but it's what came to my mind. Thank you.
Yes. Venus is writing. Thank you, Rodrigo. Can you read Venus words here on YouTube?
Yes, I can read. I can read that. Venus said that we compartmentalize. Words are made of letters. Letters are like periodic table. Periodic table. Yes, I believe that's chemical table, right? Yes.
Yes.
And
But yes, yes. We see ourselves, even for a while, even for a short while, for a second, that there was a will that we shall be born, and we are like kind of agents because there was, in a way, a will somewhere, a great will that each and every one of us will be born in a certain place, in a certain time, for a certain target. Do we think like this even? Or we take it for granted?
you were saying about the some purpose, some meaning of being here. I don't know if I understood well. It.
Yes, yes. Joanne is writing, we are the words of God. All of creation came into being through word of God. Let there be. Yes. Yes, we are words of God. Yes. Yes. And how does it feel like to be a word of God? How does it feel to be like it? What happens to you when you think or you feel, even for a short while, that we are words of God? What happens to the perspective, the way we perceive our lives?
Something more fluid, something more freedom, and
Yes,
and, and more softer belief.
yes, yes. Less combative, less, yes, complex, I would say, less conflicted. Yes, it helps a lot, even for a few seconds to think this thought, even for a few seconds every day. It takes a lot of stress out, and it makes everything so soft because it's not with the power or with, let's say, with a strong fist to go through life. with the hardware, but with the software, the Word of God. Joanne is saying, amazing, God wanted us, He willed us into existence. Yes, yes, yes. We usually tend to think that we are, like we say in English, a self-made man. We came here by our own powers, we are directors, we are scriptwriters. I see sometimes definitions on Twitter how people define themselves. That they created their own selves or so. But if we take a step back, really, really back, not one, but many, many more inside, we see that there's intention in the creation, and everyone who appears here on planet Earth in a way has or manifest or an agent of a divine will. There is a need in the creation that we shall be here, so we are here. Whether we are aware of it or whether we are not.
It's interesting, Natty, because we have a tendency to be in control of everything, and we sometimes feel that as a superhero that all depends on us, and I should do this or must do that, and as you say, um, we act as all depend on us, and everything is in us, and we control everything. But in this perspective of being word of God, well, we know that He's in the control, and we are just this blow from His mouth,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. It feels like that.
Yes. I read lately about a person who was looking for a job. Hello, Kevin. Hello. He was looking for a job for he sent his CVs, letters to CV on paper 50 times, and he was rejected. Later on, he got assistance with an AI that rewrote his CV, and with the first application, he was accepted. But the thing is, imagine the pain of a person, and it happens to many, many people. Some people experience this because we move through different stages of life. Shalom, Luke. That a person is being rejected 50 times. And this is not just rejected and saying no, because sometimes people need to provide for families or to pay rent or mortgage, and it's the load is heavy on the mind, on the heart, and a person gets to criticize himself heavily. Not to mention, there is a chance that people will fall into depression because they are being rejected 50 times and more. Imagine what a person, he or she, might have think or feel after being rejected so many times. And the payment are knocking at the door, and sometimes there's a need to fix the boiler, or there's unexpected, let's say, turn in a budget, and they need to finance, let's say, heating for the winter also, and the ceiling is crashing on people. So a person might take everything in and say, okay, I cannot provide for my family, I cannot pay this loan, I cannot pay the mortgage, and I cannot even find a job, and people are being pushed to the wall. They might take it really hard and take self-criticism about themselves, and they might even sink into depression. But if a person And this is very interesting to take it as a strategy, because people who went through those stages, they know. If we take really a few steps back and say, okay, I'm going through this narrow tunnel at the moment, but in the back, in the intention of creation, there's a good intention that my life will shift for better. Even if at this moment I don't find a job, or even at this moment I'm with my back to the wall, I believe there's a good intention. Things are getting not that close, meaning we don't beat ourselves with hard criticism. We learn to do better, and we, in a way, the ability to move in our lives, because it's not everything dependent on our deeds, because there are periods that sometimes we need to move through different fields of awareness, and we cross a certain experience. At the moment that we cross a certain experience, it's not clear for us why we have to cross that darkness, but there's intention behind every darkness that we experience. So just to remember that behind everything that we are moving through, either as individuals, families, communities, states, there is intention behind everything. And the more clean we are, we can connect to this good intention. Questions?
Oh, it's amazing. A lot of things came to my mind, but just thinking about this final part that you share with us, much more clean we are, and more we are connected with this intention, right?
Yes. Yes.
And if you could going deeper in this concept to be clean, what exactly means when you say about this?
We are grown to believe that we are doing everything, and everything is in our hands. And the more we act in life, and the more we push and go forward, it is good to go for what we believe for. But it is also good to listen to what comes from the world as transmission. And to be clean, it means to hear this transmission that comes from the universe to us. This is what it means, because some people cannot hear the transmission. They just go out, or even us in certain stages of life, just go out there without noticing that there's comes in return a transmission, like there's a dialogue going on. So to pay attention to this dialogue, because yes.
No, sorry. I remember with the Shema to
Yes.
listen
To listen.
and I remember to be empty as a vessel to receive the light, to receive the voice. Empty, not being full of ourselves, but to be empty to receive this light, right?
Yes, it's just to say what I did today. It was given to me. The day, the light hours, the actions, the motivation was given to me, and now I just put it here before I go to sleep, and then say something or meditate or go to sleep, and then comes the next morning or the next stage, and we're asking for guidance, and then we move through the day, but with a dialogue. Not I go on my own to the world to conquer, and it doesn't go like this. The more we go like this, with like a Roman commander, and I want, and what I want, it just bounces back and harder. But if we go and see, okay, let's say I have some kinds of things that I would like to go through the day, but also we go with listening. Let's say the weather is shifting, this is listening. If there's a rain, there's a sun, there's a heat wave, there's a cool wave. This is to listen to integrate all of those things together. there's a message coming, and sometimes, you know, this symphony of life, to listen to it, because we are only one note from all important note, but there's, you know.
Just be humble, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It also makes a person soft, and a person, when he is soft, he can speak. When we have a heart of stone, we cannot speak, because the words, before they go through our mouths, the mist moves through the heart. And if the heart is, how do you say, hardened of stone, the words of communication, soft communication skills will not stream, because there's something heavy sitting on the heart. So humbleness is a great tool for soft skills. Any questions that you'd like to ask?
It's amazing. It's a lot of things to think, and it's very very important to listen this and to be aware, to be conscious of all these realities, and be aware that we are a word of God, and act as a word of God, feel
Yeah.
as a word of God.
Yes. Yes. Because the word, as we mentioned one session ago, the word is also a notion. The word is also a notion. We were, let's write it here. Let's move and write it. The word is 85, and Yada, and Adam knew his wife. So we have Milah. Milah is a word. I was writing Luke. Yes. Let's write it. You said that we are a word of God. Milah. Word. And earlier we were reading the word bar has the word son bar in it. True. Joanne is saying that the word davar, davar, because davar is also a word or a thing, holds the letters bar. Bar in Aramaic, it means sun. So the word holds the sun in it. The word holds the sun. The word of God holds the sun. We are the sons of God, sons and daughters of God. True, true. Now, the value of Milah is 85. Now, the verb knew, Yada, and Adam knew his wife, is 84. Plus 1, plus the connection, is 85. So, if we are the Word of God, which is 85, with the unity with the Word of God is something that unites. We have the notion. And when we have the notion that we are the Word of God, we move entirely different in life. We don't move like as people who are struggling anymore, and the world is against us or us against the world, but to move in life with a notion. It is completely different perspective.
It's amazing, actually. I must confess that I knew the gospel. I knew John 1:1, but in fact, I not how can I say made this as an exercise. I until now, until today, until listening to you, I not imagine being a word of God, and it's a huge experience to think in this way, changing a lot of things, thinking that we are a word of God, a word from God. It's amazing this perspective, and I never think in this way before. Thank you very much to offer this to us. It's amazing perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if we are a word of God and new 84 plus 1 is 85, we can sort those numbers in those way 1, 4, 8, and this is 1. This is 1, or Passover, or bread and wine. Bread and wine. This is who we are. How can such a perspective change the way we perceive and move in life?
It's amazing, Eti. I just thinking now the numbers that we put in the beginning of the class, and we get the 75, the nights, and then 10 years after we get the Milah, the 85, plus the Kolel. 1 year after we get the Elohim, the 86, and with the 13 years after we get the circumcision, 999, which can, how can I say, unite the earth with the heavens, because the difference from earth to heaven is 99. So it's really a journey to to be conscious of this milah, and then united with this God manifested, and then we add the love, and then we can be connected with earth and heaven. We could connect earth and heaven. It's amazing, this perspective and this journey. Thank you very much to share it.
You're most welcome. Any questions that you would like to ask?
No, at the moment, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, Venus, Luke, Kevin. Questions that you would like to ask or something that you would like to say? Just a little advice or input for today's conversation. If we can move even only a few moments per day, if we remember to move in life with the spirit of the One, that we are just a manifestation of His words, ideas, and His love in this world. So, in a way, there is no need to fight, to combat, because you just move with love, and this is quite soft and non combative. and just to move with dialogue and listening to the symphony of life, which is love. This is it.
It's amazing at this perspective. Just assume this perspective. Uh, remove many obstacle of our life, obstacle that we create in our mind
Yes, yes.
because we assume different perspectives. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I would like to wish everyone a great weekend ahead and see you in the next time. Shalom, shalom, and toda rabba.
Thank you very much, Yeti. Thank you very much, everyone on YouTube. Luke, Joanne, Kevin, Venus, Jesus, everyone, Frank. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed. Shalom, shalom, and see you soon.
Shalom, shalom.